Hey, what's up everybody? Dylan here from Iceberg TV. Today we're going to be checking out the Doomsday Discs Chemtrail. Now Doomsday is mostly known for some very weird and bizarre molds, but from what I can tell, the Chemtrail seems relatively normal. So it's a 7.6 -2.1 are the flight numbers, so we're going to compare it to the Luft Discs Titanium, 7.5 -2.1. We've got the Iceberg TV Edition F5, 8.6 -2.1. We've got a Discmania FD, and then we have the Innova Star Leopard. So we're going to compare the Chemtrail to all of these, relatively similar discs and see how it flies. I've not thrown the Chemtrail at all yet, so we'll throw everything else first. We'll see how the Chemtrail compares to some of the top discs within this sort of flight number lineup, starting with the Innova Leopard. I'm a huge Leopard guy, been throwing it on and off for years, something I can depend on for a little bit of flip and a little bit of fade. Very true to the flight numbers. Also, Discmania FD, very similar. Discmania FD being a little bit more overstable than the Leopard. And we've got the Iceberg TV Special Edition 750 Glimmer F5. We still have like 10 of these in stock, I believe. Probably flying right in between the FD and the Leopard. Now we've got the Luft Discs Titanium. Really great, super smooth feeling disc. Kind of got over on that one a bit, but great glide on the Titanium, wow. And then wow, first throw with the Chemtrail. I'm really excited to actually give this a throw. All the Chemtrails have this like two-tone design, which I find really cool, and there's some really fun color combos out there. Wow, okay, I was expecting that to flip. It did not flip up at all. Probably flying most similar to the Discmania FD. Let's go throw it a few more times. And I don't currently have any Doomsday discs in my main tournament bag, this bag right here. And I also don't really have any others in my collection, I don't believe. But they just came out with a square disc. They sold out so fast, I actually didn't even get a chance to get one and test one out. So Doomsday, if you see this video, make me a square, please. Thanks. And if you want to check out the #1 disc golf bag on the market, bergsdiscsports.com, you can use code ICE20 at checkout to save 20% on the V4. Best disc golf bag on the market, in my opinion. We just threw into a pretty good tailwind, so now we're going to be throwing them into a pretty firm headwind here. So let's throw a couple of these options, and we'll throw the Chemtrail. Everything's going to flip a lot more going back into the headwind. It's actually a bit more windy than I thought initially. Leopard. You're really going to see how the wind tends to affect the flight of the discs in today's video as well. This is the Iceberg 750 Glimmer F5. You can see they're just getting so much more flip in the mid-flight, going back into a headwind. Let's throw the FD and then the Chemtrail. The FD and the Chemtrail are very similar, and I would say the FD actually feels a little bit wider, and the Chemtrail has like a small bead-ish shape. It doesn't have a bead on it, but it's got a definitely a different shape than the FD. I'll show you guys the side profile compared to the FD before the next set of throws. Discmania FD. Threw that pretty nose up, and it's still wanting to get a little pop up and turn. Let's try this Chemtrail a little bit flatter because it seemed pretty stable on that first throw. Try the Chemtrail a bit flatter here. Okay. Wow, that's an awesome flight. Maybe the Chemtrail is like the Luft Discs Titanium. Maybe that's the most similar. Can't tell if it's more similar to this or the FD. Yeah, okay, the Chemtrail turns way less than the Titanium, wow. Chemtrail's kind of legit, maybe more of a -1 turn with a 1 fade. At least going back into the headwind, but So in reality, there's a ton of variation in how a -2 turn 6 to 8 speed can fly. And you're seeing that with these. Most of these have a -2 turn, including the Chemtrail. I'd say going into that headwind, the Chemtrail had a -2 turn, but I'm expecting in neutral conditions, it's actually gonna fly basically like a stock new FD. And I'm really happy to see Doomsday coming out with like a pro level disc that you can actually buy and put into your tournament bag and throw it for serious scoring disc golf. I do like that Doomsday has such fun molds, but it's also good to see them like dip their toe into a more competitive style of disc. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. All right, so the Chemtrail seems to be somewhere right in between the FD and the F5. The Chemtrail has definitely a different top than the F5. The F5 has a pretty unique top shape that you don't see super often. I personally really like the way the F5 feels, but the bottoms are quite similar between these two in my opinion. And then we'll switch the F5 for the FD here so you guys can see. I mean, the FD and the Chemtrail seem super similar to me. Show you guys the bottoms there too. The FD and the Chemtrail have a lot of similar flight characteristics and feel in hand. And I feel like Doomsday really nailed this mold, and I like the artwork. And again, I really love this two-tone design. It's really gonna stick out, especially if you're playing in like a heavily wooded course or somewhere in like a field with long grass. This is gonna be a lot easier to find than a normal disc, in my opinion. Let's give everything some forehands. The wind has actually died down all of a sudden. The trees were moving pretty well before. The golf flag was moving a lot. The wind just went away. So we'll get to see them in calm conditions after all. We'll start off with this is the Iceberg TV edition F5. This is the most stable run of F5 that I've ever thrown. So I usually do a good job forehanding these. Beautiful. One of the most beautiful flights in the game right there. Discmania FD. This is one of the more stable runs of FD. This is the famous Innova Jackal run, but it's just got a tournament stamp on it. So you can see the F5 had quite a bit more flip up than the Jackal FD. Now we've got loop discs, titanium. These tend to turn pretty good for me on forehand. It's usually a little bit more of a shot shaper disc for me, not so much something that's point and shoot like an FD. Look at that lift, dude. Man, the titaniums are underrated. I kind of forgot how sick those were. Then Innova Leopard. This is one of my controversial takes, is that the Leopard is actually a really good forehand disc. To some people, that's a hot take nowadays. Oh, I didn't trust it. Oh, that skipped off the top of the bridge. That might be in the water. We'll have to go get that. All right, Chemtrail. Let's trust it a little bit flatter. I definitely trust this not to just flip all the way up and over. Whoa! And just as I say that, it flips all the way up and over. I'm gonna go grab that and forehand that another time. That was not good. All right, the headwind is starting to pick up again also. You can see the trees on the right moving. Flag on my left starting to move as well. Try a little hyzer pop forehand. Man, it's a pretty stiff wind that just picked back up. I feel like it's just gonna turn right over. All right, hyzer pop Chemtrail forehand. Yeah, wow, okay. I didn't love my first throw, but I did like the release of the second throw, and it still really flipped over. Certain discs, if you throw them smooth, they fly relatively stable. But if you start getting a little torquey with them, which a forehand tends to do, they kind of start to flip on you. And this disc right here is a disc in my bag that's kind of like that. It's like if I throw it well, it flies stable. But if I don't throw it quite right, or it's a little wobbly, I mean, it just turns right over and almost into a roller. So I'm not sure if you guys know what I mean, but certain discs, if you don't connect with them perfectly, they can get a bit flippy. And it seems like that Chemtrail that I just threw might be one of those kinds of discs. Man, the Chemtrail, it's a pretty interesting disc from Doomsday. I actually do really like the way it feels on the backhand. It's kind of got that titanium, leopard, FD type of performance for me, at least on the backhand. But for whatever reason on the forehand, it really wanted to flip on me. We were throwing it into a pretty stiff headwind. I'm sure in neutral conditions or tailwind, it would be just fine. But it's notable, into that forehand, into the headwind, it flipped on me twice. And it seemed like none of the other discs really wanted to flip quite that much. That went like straight to nose down, like roller style almost. If you want to get a 10% discount on one, use the link in the description below. discgolfdealsusa.com/icebergtv will get you the best possible price on not only the Chemtrail, but any other disc on the site. You're going to get 10% off by using the link in the description below. And then we do have, again, shout out, #1 disc golf bag on the market. Use the links in the description below. Stay humble, live with gratitude. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video, and take care.